Hi, Seth.
How you doing?
Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me good? Because I have a headset on. I'm not sure if you can hear me good.
I can. How do I pronounce your name?
I think it's for you much easier. You can call me Sally because my
Sally.
name is, yes,
You sure? You
because
can
my
give it a
name
shot though.
is Sally is okay.
All right, nice to meet you, Sally. What do you
Nice
want to
to
talk
meet
about?
you. I want to ask you, why do you think that God is invented by humans?
I think so. I take gods to be basically abstract concepts, immaterial ideas that humans have devised. The reason I take gods to be abstract concepts is because there's not sufficient evidence of gods existing independently of us. But historically, there's lots of evidence of humans inventing gods, all different kinds of gods, major deities and minor deities, like philosophical gods, and biblical gods. So that's why I think God is an invention.
You know that you have a biblical name.
Yeah, I'm aware. What you doing? Are you playing with some
You're
water?
amazing.
Just carrying on down there.
Sorry?
I said you playing with some water back there. What's happening?
War?
Water.
Ah, yeah, I'm making coffee. I will shut it up.
Oh,
Shut it
okay. I
down.
was I
I'm
was wondering
sorry,
what
my
that
English.
was.
No, my
It's
English
totally
is
fine.
not the best. I'm sorry. I'm not native. I'm coming a native from Serbia and living in Austria, and so my English is not perfect, but
It's
I
good
will
though.
try. Yeah.
So are you guys?
Did you,
Sorry. Go ahead.
yes, just to understand where you are, did you read some of the religion books, because there are many and different ones?
No, I've never read a whole religious text all the way through. I've read bits and pieces of different ones just in passing, but I've never been committed to any religion like that.
Okay, because my opinion or my thinking, I have to explain. I always believed in God, but I did not know God. I did not know which one is the true one, because we have really thousands of religions. And my sentence was, out of my ignorance, and now I can say also arrogance, I said always, it was like a mantra, all the religion are the same.
Oh yeah, that's understandable.
And
As a
but
category,
this
that
is
makes
not
sense though.
true. Yeah, but this is absolutely not true. I was telling this without researching or reading all the texts.
I wouldn't say that's necessary for you to do that. Religion is based around belief systems, right? So whichever you decide to engage with, right, let me put it another way. In order to engage with the idea of God, you don't actually have to get involved with any religion at all. Like, gods exist, concepts of gods exist independently of religions, right? You realize that?
Um, what do you mean exactly? Maybe I did not understand it well.
So the idea of God predates any religion that you will find. So it's not a necessary prerequisite to get involved with religion in order to know about gods. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Well, if there is a God, it's natural that people always knew and believed in God.
I would disagree.
It's funny for me. It's funny for me that nowhere you cannot see, for example, if the evolution theory is right, we don't see that some status, how do you say, not status, some uh, forms of the monkeys, because
I think you have a misunderstanding of what evolution is. Then, if you're expecting to see a monkey that's turned into a human, you don't really
no,
understand
no, it,
evolution.
it was a sort of, I know, it was not a monkey, but it was a sort from the family. of the monkeys.
So are you saying you don't think evolution is real?
No, and I can explain it why.
Okay.
Because if you look, the first bacteria has information. If you look, the first cell, it has information.
I don't think there's any
And
such
when
thing as the
you-
first cell.
Just to finish that, and when you can put the beginning wherever you want, but one thing is very clear: information does not pop out of nothing.
So the question for you then is, how do you think information comes about?
It comes from a mind. In
Right,
that
so-
case, from a mastermind.
Does that mind come from somewhere then?
It has to be, because if you think logic, nowhere we can see that information pop out of nothing.
So,
Even when
but
we are
wait,
thinking,
but there's a problem with that, because you're about to make a special pleading for that mind. That mind also can't just pop out of nothing then, can it?
exactly, and that's why God says He is eternal. I think we all have
No,
struggles
God's never said anything.
with eternity.
God has never said
From
anything.
the Bible,
No,
He says in
men
the
say
Bible,
men say that. Men's descriptors matter little. If you read a different religion, they have a different description. They talk about a different God. But there's never been evidence of God actually ever saying anything.
I'm with you. I
So-
was thinking the same. Yeah.
He's
I'm
never
with
actually
you.
said anything. If he exists, why we calling it a he, we don't know. Just based on historical patriarchy, that's why we're calling it a he.
To explain my background, I hated the Bible. I was
cool.
I was a hater of the Bible, and I had struggles. I never read it, and I had a lot of fights with people who told me I should read the Bible, and I told them, because I knew the history of the churches, and there was the Dark Age, and it was very evil. We know that. So I was always thinking that the churches has written the Bible without knowing that was not written by the church.
Essentially, it was what you call the Bible. The New Testament is put together by people which would be called the early church fathers, also known as the Council of Nicaea, etc.
Yes, exactly.
So the Old
but not
Testament, the Old Testament isn't written by the church. Yes, that's Judaism
but
or the
not
Tanakh.
Exactly. Yes, but not from the from the Rome Church. It was people. It was the apostles and
Yes,
people
but who brought that
Jesus.
together for you? It was the Romans. Right, the same
No,
people.
it
Yes,
was written.
the same people that killed Jesus are the same people who wrote the Bible, who put all the books together into one thing.
Exactly. That's not. I was also thinking that, but that's not true.
That is correct.
The
It is true.
The Jews have written the New Testament, not the Romans.
No, I don't know about that.
You
Right?
don't find any. No, you don't find any Roman writings.
So when I say the Romans,
Paul?
I'm not saying they. Right, so like individually, the Bible is a book of books. Okay, right. I'm not really a Bible scholar. I'm just speaking as a generalist, right? But the Bible is a book of books, right? The various different testaments, or like Book of Matthew, Book of John, Book of Paul, etc., etc. They are assigned to individuals, of course, right? But how those books come together, that becomes the New Testament, is via that same Council of Nicaea, which is by way of Rome and Romans. Okay, if Rome didn't sanction,
Nicaea, yes.
if Rome
Do you
didn't sanction
understand why?
Christianity, then you wouldn't have the
Yeah.
Bible. Or if it wasn't for the Roman Empire, there would be no Christianity as you understand it today.
Do you understand why Nicaea was so important?
Well, I have an opinion, but I can't say I know
Okay.
for certain.
I will explain it to you, because at the beginning there were people who wrote also the agnostic books and against God's word. So there was a lot of discussion, and then they had a meeting to discuss, okay, which books will come in. And I was also thinking,
Which ones wouldn't, right?
exactly, which will come into the Bible.
Right. So
And everything what
that's men
is
deciding God's word for you,
no, but it was a
essentially.
logical discussion because I will give you an example. The all the agnostic books you can research
I think
yourself
you mean Gnostic,
was written very
the
late.
Gnostic texts. I think you
The,
mean, right?
exactly.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
different
they're
thing.
written very late. So this was how will I explain? This was against God's word, like you
Again,
have today. You
but
have a lot of
I have to pull you up about the fact that you're saying it's God's word. Again, there is no evidence God has ever said anything to man. The only words you have about God are the words men have written about God. Right, just to be clear, you can believe it's God's word, right, but I don't think it actually even says that it's God's word. It's divinely inspired.
well, it sounds like I said, my background was the same. I did not believe in the Bible, and I thought this is on man has written it. Exactly the same words like you are telling me.
Men did write it.
But when
There
you
aren't any books that have
read,
ever come around that didn't come from men. Just
oh,
straight,
of course,
as simple as that.
yes, men have wrote it, but when you start to research and read, I will give you an example. This is something you should maybe think about. God says in Genesis that He made
God
the
doesn't say
man
anything.
from the dust.
Just to be clear,
Okay,
God doesn't say anything.
okay,
The book
but
says that.
it says
Right?
so.
Yes, the book
Okay,
says that.
and He says, okay, but let me finish the sentence. It's very important.
Go for it.
It was Genesis was written by Moses, right? 4.5, almost 5,000 years ago.
I'm not certain. I don't know.
And it's the timing. You have also archaeological proofs for that.
I think
But let's go back
the
to this
primary
very
sources for Genesis
interesting.
come from Sumerians, so that would predate Moses.
No,
Yes.
that's why I told you no. I also thought that. No,
I
you
mean,
have, when you research it in deeper, really deep, you have to dive deep
yeah,
in,
like
and then you will
you would
see.
have to give some sources, not just say just research, because I have looked into it. The primary story of how the earth is formed comes from the Sumerians. That's the foundational text that becomes Genesis, as I understand it. So what you're saying needs to be some sort, like you can't just say that.
It's not the same.
But it's the
It's
source.
similar.
It's the source. It's the source material.
No,
Okay.
no.
All right, we'll just have to
But
disagree on
like I
that because
said,
I'm
you
pretty
have to,
certain it is.
you have. But let me finish this sentence. And the human Adam was made out of dust. And when I started to read, I thought, okay, I have you now. I will disagree with that. And then I thought, I can check out the chemical. Like I said, I was very struggling. I hated the Bible. And I thought,
Yes,
okay,
like
I will
I
check now
understand you,
the
but just to be clear, speak
chemical.
for yourself because I'm not saying I hate the Bible. Not at any point have I said that. Right, so you just keep in mind, you're speaking for yourself
I
here.
did. I'm
Right,
speaking
yeah.
for
So just
myself.
don't
I
project that to
did
me.
that, yeah.
Right,
No. I'm telling about myself. I'm not
cool.
telling that you were this
That's
person. I
fine.
was very
That's fine.
mean without knowing. And I thought, okay, I will check now the chemicals from human and the earth. You can check that. We have the same chemicals, exactly the
Yes, of
same
course, because
chemicals.
matter exists and everything is just a different configuration of matter. Of course, we're made of the same things that the Earth is made of. We're made of the same things that Mars is made of, asteroids are made of. Like matter is the primary thing in the universe.
Yes, but
So
this
of
is not the
course,
question. This is not the question. The
no,
question is,
it is
how
important.
did Moses
It's
know
clarity.
that
No, that is not the
5,000 years
question, right?
ago?
That's something that pertains to your beliefs, right? To be honest, I really don't know where this conversation is actually going. As I've already stated, the creationist myth stems from the ancient Sumerians. Right? I can't remember the exact time period. It's been a while since I've talked about this. But the myth of man being created in that way, dust, right, predates Moses' existence. Okay, it's just updated at that point where
I
Judaism
can
is
tell you
formed.
one, yeah, I can tell you one thing. that I see.
Might even have the
It's always
timeline
the
here.
heart. Yeah, it's not the mind, it's the heart.
Yeah,
You don't want a God
the heart. The heart
above
is simply just
you.
an organ. It's just an organ.
Do you love somebody?
What has that got to do with the conversation? It seems like you're seeking something to manipulate instead of actually facing up to what's being
No,
said.
you say it's just an organ.
Yes, of course, it's just an
Do you
organ.
love somebody?
It has nothing to do with your
You love
heart.
somebody.
It has nothing to do with your heart. That's poetic language. Your heart is an organ that pumps blood around. It's an electromagnetic organ that pumps blood around your body.
Okay,
Right.
we're
Poetically
saying
speaking, yeah, your
we
heart
love with the
has something to do
heart.
with love, right? But
Okay.
love itself is just an abstract concept. Love has more to do
Do you
with
love somebody?
love has more to do with mind than it does with heart, right? Love is a combination
Do
of
you want to be
concept.
separate
Listen,
from all the people you love?
Love has more to do with concept and biochemical reaction. Across language, across cultures, love isn't consistent. Different cultures have different ideas of what love is. Okay, just to be clear. Okay, so the only thing that is consistent.
So you have only
The only
so
thing
you
that
have
is
only
consistent.
chemical reactions. You don't
Right.
love anybody.
So you add the concept, you add mind, right? Idea on top of the chemical process. This is what humans do. Okay. So when we speak poetically and say, oh, the heart wants what it wants, we're not talking about the actual organ, the heart. We're speaking poetically, metaphorically.
I understand the evolution theory.
That
Because
had
you
nothing to
don't-
do with
you
evolution.
cannot. It has, of course, it does. Because if evolution is true, you cannot love. You have
What are you
only
talking
chemical
about?
reactions.
What are you talking about? Look, right, so you could believe in God and still be consistent with evolution. There are people who believe God created the world, but they also acknowledge the very real reality of evolution. Right? I don't know what
Yes,
you
but
think,
not everybody
but
can be right.
so
We are
evolution
talking about
is a
love.
thing, right? And love is also a thing. But like I was just saying to you, love is what is correlates to like biochemistry, right? Chemical reactions, neuroepinephrine, oxytocin, serotonin,
Exactly,
etc.
exactly.
But love
Exactly. Then
is a
you
concept.
cannot
Listen,
love.
respectfully, I think Sally was it or Sarah?
Yes, Sally.
Love is a concept. Think of love as a pill, an empty container, right? As a concept, it's an empty container that we fill with other concepts. So within the concept of love, we have sensuality, right? We have relational, agape love. We have brotherly love, etc. Right? We have love of food, love of things, love of life, etc. We fill this empty container capsule, an immaterial idea called love via language, with other concepts. So when we point to sacrificial type of love, we point to agape love. When we talk to familial love, we talk like relational. When we talk, etc. We invoke the concept. But the only thing that translates across languages, across cultures, is the biochemical reaction when experiencing external stimuli, e.g. having an interaction with someone you care about, or someone that makes you feel flustered, or someone that you're attracted to, etc. That's the only consistent thing.
Yes.
Right?
And in the evolution theory, it's only chemical.
It's both. Evolutionarily speaking.
You cannot put God out and
No.
put the spiritual thing in.
No, it's not spiritual, right? It's mental, it's psychological, okay?
Love is
From a
spiritual.
materialist view,
Prove me that you love your mother.
from a materialist view, right? Love is consistent, right? If materialism allows for the body to exist and the body gives rise to the mind, then that is consistent with love existing under evolution. Okay? They're not separate, right? You can think that love is spiritual. You're entitled to think that. That's not something you could ever demonstrate. Because as I just told you,
cannot
across
prove
cultures, the only thing consistent about love is the biochemical thing, which speaks to materialism, the actual body of the human.
Exactly. If
Right,
you
so
put
you
out
don't
the
need spirits for
spiritual
love then.
aspect, you can. That's my point. You cannot prove to anybody that you love your mom, for example.
Yes, because it's an abstract concept. It's an idea.
No, it's because it's spiritual.
It's an abstract concept, right?
It's not chemical reaction. You don't go to your mom and say
how
to
do
your
you
mom,
improve? Of course it is. Of course it is.
Chemical reactions.
Of course it is. When a mother gives birth to a child, the mother and the child both have chemical reactions in relation to each other, and that is consistent throughout a child's life into adulthood. That is what bonds you to a parent. Okay?
Okay, do you love your mom?
That is besides the point. Okay? You pivoted a crazy way, right? It's besides the point.
No, I just
Gods
want to
gods
show
do
you
not need to exist in order for love to
the
exist.
bigger picture. No,
I will
you will
listen,
be
but
separated from
asking these
all the people
questions
you
is like,
love if you
that's
don't
nonsense.
deny
That's
God.
nonsense, right? That's nonsense.
Oh, rethink that, Sad.
That
I
is
love
nonsense.
you. I
This
care
is
about
your
your
opinion.
soul.
How could you, how
No,
respectfully, how could you love me if you don't even understand what love is?
because I want to see everyone in God's
So
kingdom.
you don't understand what love is, yet you're
Yes, I
claiming to
want
love
to
someone,
see Seth
right? Do you
there.
see the problem with that? Do you see the problem with that? What if your love
I see
is
the problem
what
in
if
your
your love
heart,
is an expression
Seth.
of oppression, right? What if your love
Why
is an
do you
expression of
accept the
oppression?
eternal death of your mom?
Oh, that's terrible. That's
No, it's
terrible. So if we're
not.
going to talk about mums, we'll talk about your mum, okay, if you want,
No, it's
right? But we're not
not.
going to talk about my mum.
You don't want, if
We're
you
not going to do
really
that,
love
right?
somebody, love does not have boundaries. It's eternal.
No,
Love is
that's an
eternal,
idea.
Seth.
That's something that you think. No,
No.
love is
God
100%
showed you
conditional, right?
love.
No, this is your
Yes,
beliefs, right?
exactly.
So,
Yes,
with due
exactly.
respect, my dear
You
Sally,
are
right?
loved
You're
from
telling me,
eternity, Seth.
you're telling me things that you believe, and you're doing it in a very gaslighting way,
I
which one might be
experienced
able to say
God.
isn't loving, okay, right? If we was to have a conversation with each other, you shouldn't push your views onto me. You say, look, this is what I think.
No, I don't want.
This is
No,
why I
Seth.
think it. But pushing it onto
No,
me as
it's
if it's a matter
okay.
of fact isn't
I
loving. Okay,
see.
do you
I
understand that?
see. Okay, I see that you are searching. I think that's very good what you're
Ah,
doing.
thank you.
And no, really, I think that's really great because a lot of people are not searching. And you are open, you want to know, and you have your questions. And that's
Yeah.
great, Seth. I
Yeah,
think the
thanks.
most of the
That it's
people
quite
don't even
patronizing.
think
It's quite
about that.
patronizing, but I appreciate that. That's nice. I
But
mean,
Seth, really, think, think about your existence in the whole picture.
all right. So I'll ask you
I
this:
want to really
Why should I
put you
think?
this on your heart.
Why should I think, right, that the God you believe in actually exists? Let's start like that instead, because this has just gone into a weird place of a bit preachy, you know.
I can tell you my reasoning why.
Yeah, I would like to hear
Because
that.
I researched the archaeological proofs a lot. We have thousands of proofs. You have fulfilled prophecies, thousands of them. Jesus only Jesus
So,
fulfilled 300 of them.
oh gosh,
And my personal,
I'm
yes,
not a
and my
biblical critique
personal
guy, but I can tell
experience.
you that that's incorrect. But sure.
Oh,
All right.
you have to
So if you
research,
could
and you're loved.
if you could boil it down to one specific thing that convinced you, because like you said before, you were a hater of the Bible. If you can boil it down to one
I
specific thing,
was.
if you could boil it down to one specific thing that makes you believe in God, what would that be? Just one, if you could.
You cannot separate. It's all of them.
If you could,
But
if you could, just
if I
try.
could, it would be my personal experience, which I cannot prove you.
No, I
This is
wouldn't. I
something
wouldn't ask you to
you
prove it.
can. Yeah, I cannot. It's something I cannot, but you can experience him. That is for
So,
real.
what would you say that personal experience was that made you convinced that God exists?
I received wonder. I was a person who cursed a lot. And from 1 second, no, really, I cursed really a lot. And I don't know if you are cursing, but I was a very problematic in that. And
Profanity
when
is
you want to
necessary
quit,
sometimes.
I don't know, but I know
Yeah,
people, they want to
isn't
stop and never stop. And since God took it away from me, I did not curse anything. Not a person, not
that's
in
good.
the last
That
6 years.
that's good. All
For
right.
me,
But
it's this a
how
wonder.
can you describe the experience of God taking away profanity from you? Can you describe that experience?
The funny thing was that I did not notice it. The other people around me, they told me, you are different. And I told them, what? I'm different. I'm not different. And they explained me, you are not cursing anymore. You are so calm. You are, something
That's
happened to
good.
you.
That's good. But why give a supernatural entity the credit for your own character development?
Because it was never on my mind to stop cursing.
But you
I
did.
love that. I'm a native Serbian.
But you did, though,
Here,
right?
no, really, this is a crazy people. You say cursings like you say hello to each other.
Yeah, so
It's in
that's
the blood
culturally
of the people.
that's culturally appropriate then. So it wouldn't really be. No, it's not necessarily terrible though if it's a cultural norm. Not necessarily. So the truth is, we use profanity when we lack the ability to articulate something or we want to emphasize something. But if it's culturally
Yes.
normal for you to F and blind, then that's not necessarily anything bad.
But
It's just the
do
way
you know
you
when
use
it
language.
happened?
What do you mean?
I will explain you. You will not believe me what happened really, because I was talking to God. It was not, I didn't even pray. I was talking to him, and I
I've
felt.
got questions about that.
I know you will not believe me, but I felt literally something going inside of me. You know,
Well, not
like
really.
spiritual. I know you, that's what I'm telling you. You cannot believe me, and I
It's,
understand that in
don't get me wrong,
fullness.
right?
You will think
It's not that I'm
you will
trying
think
to
I'm
disbelieve you.
crazy.
Well, yeah, of course. Like, look,
It sounds crazy. I know that. Everybody told me that I'm crazy, and I told
I'm
them
not saying you are crazy. I'm just simply acknowledging there are things that we can't actually articulate with language. Language isn't like. I heard someone say, language doesn't create meaning, right? It triggers it, right? Or there's another way to say this, but there are just things that cannot be described in vocabulary, and it doesn't have to be anything supernatural. We're just talking about just internal feelings, right? There are things you need to be able to know, and words you need to know. Like, you're speaking my language very well when I couldn't even speak your language, so you're quite ahead of the curve anyway. So I'm not saying you're
thank you.
crazy. I'm not saying you're crazy just because you can't explain what you're saying. I'm just saying, all right, because you can't explain
That
something,
is
it doesn't necessarily
yes.
mean you need to fill it with an answer temporarily and act as if that answer is the
There
truth.
there is one more thing that is really also crazy. I was never inside myself calm, and he gave me a peace that I cannot explain to no one rationally, and it does not leave me for years now.
That's good.
And I see that is supernatural, because
No,
I
that wouldn't be
was always
supernatural.
somebody who is very, how can I explain? I was very, I was always fighting with the world. I wanted to fight for the good,
Well,
for truth,
perhaps
for
you just started to mature. Perhaps you started to mellow out. Like, that's quite normal. That doesn't sound supernatural. You realize that, right? Like, any number of things
for
could
me
bring
it is,
someone to that
because
point.
I was always different my whole life, and I'm 53 now.
Yeah, we all think we're the main character, but we're not that much different from each other. To be honest, to be honest, we're quite consistent with human nature across the board. You know, we all think we're special, but we're not really. You know,
But you are special.
I mean, like, in terms of the conversation wise, like, these
Yeah,
things are
but for
expected
God,
as a
you're
human.
very special.
I doubt that, right? Specifically because of the Bible type of God. We're definitely not significant to that type of God, given the things that happen to us and the things that He's reportedly done to us. So we're not special to a Bible type of God. Maybe like a Spinoza type of God. You know, maybe we're special to that type of God, but not a
No,
not a
somebody
Judaic
dies
or
for
an
you.
Abrahamic God. An Abrahamic God couldn't give a damn about
He
human
died.
lives.
He became, yeah, but he became human
No, I
and
disagree with
died
that.
for you to
I
save
disagree
you.
with that. So it
Yes.
makes no sense to save us from himself.
Yes,
So
exactly.
so he
Because
killed
God is
so
holy.
he killed himself, right, to sacrifice himself to himself on behalf of us.
Yes,
That makes
exactly.
sense to you.
Absolutely. Because love was never just a word, it is action.
So
It is
why didn't he just make it
sacrifice.
so suffering wasn't a possibility, or that humans wouldn't cause suffering, or that he wouldn't make
I,
us suffer,
a
instead
good,
of sacrificing
a good
himself to himself?
question. A good question, yeah. I explained it always like this. God is almighty, and he created everything.
You hope.
And
You hope. But I don't
I'm
think he created
sorry, my
himself though.
phone was ringing. And he is not a weak mummy. You cannot come to God and say, I'm sorry, justice must be served.
Well,
And it was for me
that's kind of the
frightening.
premise of Christianity. That's literally the point of grace and forgiveness.
Exactly.
So you're saying that's ineffective.
Exactly.
You're literally
But his
saying
love
Christianity is
stronger.
ineffective. You realize that?
No.
As what
his
you just
love
said.
is... What did I say?
So you said you can't just come to him and just be like, "Oh, forgive me." Like justice has to be served. Like, so you're basically saying like
Yes,
Christianity is inert. It doesn't work.
exactly.
So why subscribe to it then?
Stay with me. Dive deeper into that. Because in the beginning I thought God is holy. And I thought, but this is a beautiful thing. That means that your eternity, you will always be holy to you.
I disagree with that.
Because
Right?
we are living in a fallen world, Seth.
I disagree.
Look
Right?
around
I
you.
totally disagree. And if the world were to be fallen, it would be because of that God. Right? I put it to you like this: it's either God wanted Adam and Eve to eat apple, or he couldn't stop them. Which do you take to be truer?
Let's pretend you're Adam. And God created you first in this garden.
I think you should think about that question first before the hypothetical. It's either God wanted
I want
Adam
to
and Eve.
explain it.
No, you can't really explain
Yes.
God's behavior. That'd be like, that'd be egotistic.
I can.
But you can try,
If
right?
God would,
But listen,
I will
listen.
explain it to you.
I will walk down the hypothetical with you after you answer the question, right? It's either God wanted
I want-
Adam and Eve to eat the apple, or he couldn't stop them. Which of the two do you think is more likely?
He gives them choice.
So-
Without love, without choice, you
Would
cannot
that be
have.
that he wanted them
true
to
love.
eat it then?
No, he did not want that, but he
Well,
gave them
that's
a
what that would
choice.
imply. That's what that would imply.
Exactly. Love
So-
needs
right.
choice.
So-
if
so
somebody
again, I'll
presses
ask you
and
again.
tell you must love me,
Well, he has set that
I will
up.
never love this.
That is literally
No.
the scenario he set up set in motion.
No.
Okay, so right, I put it to you like this. Okay, when you invoke the idea of choice, you also like subtly sneak in free will. In a Christian paradigm, you can't have that type of free will. One, because God is apparently all-knowing, so your choices wouldn't matter in that kind of context. But two, as a believer, your will would never overpower God's will. So anything that could happen, good or bad, would be because God willed it. So e.g. the bad thing that makes the world fallen, Eve and the devil and Adam eating an apple, would be because God willed it to be so. If God didn't will it, it wouldn't be so. Right? Do you get it?
Yeah, but look.
So the choice is never
are
really yours
saying
then,
what
is it?
Yes, it is.
No.
You're saying what you say out of your free choice, and that's okay.
No. All right,
You
so
can say no to God.
I
will not
wouldn't
force
have the capability to do that. All right, think of so right.
You have
There's a problem in this,
already.
right? If we were to say, look, let's start at just base theology, if you will, right? Just the premise that a God exists. From the premise that a God exists, and we'll even assign him the creator of all things, right? If we were to just leave it there, we wouldn't have these problems. But the minute we start saying God does this and he doesn't do that, and he does this and he acts in this way and he doesn't act in that way, we create all of these internal contradictions all the way down the line, to the point where you're trying to argue about free will, which has been given to you, which you can't refuse, right? All these kinds of things are just unnecessary isms and schisms, as the old folks would say, okay? Truth be told, from a Christian paradigm, you can't have that idea of choice. It's always going to be God's will. So the choice to you is an illusion. In the same way, the choice to you would be an illusion as a determinist atheist. Okay? It's just that you're
but
going
if
about it
this
from a
would be
religious
true-
view.
Yes, Seth, but wait for a second. If this would be true, you would be a believer.
What do
It
you
does
mean?
not force you.
I would never have the choice.
God's will. No, if this would be true, you would be now a believer. But
Right, so-
God says, Seth, I love you, but I will never force you.
No.
Never.
No.
Because
Right. This is
the
your opinion.
whole
This is your opinion
world-
of who
No,
God
it's
is.
the-
This isn't a matter of fact. Like I said, it is possible that a God exists and created everything, but he has nothing to do with your religious view of him. It's entirely possible that is the case. What you're telling me is your view from a religious context, right? If an all-powerful entity exists, and created everything. He created me like he created dirt, like he created bees, like he created ants. My individual choices in existence are technically insignificant to him. There are way more important things on the macro scale to be concerned about my choices.
Oh,
And if he
you
made
are
it, if,
very
listen,
important to
if he
him.
made me, there's no good reason to think he would need me to believe in him. That speaks to human psychology, right? That's humans pushing their like anthropocentric points of view onto the God, because it is it's an anthropomorphic deity, the God of the Bible, right? So you are acting as if it thinks like a human, but you have no reason to think God thinks like a human. Ultimately, that's just your
No,
religious
he does
view.
not.
There you go. So
If
why
God
would God
would be
need
like
me to
a,
believe in him? He wouldn't.
he wants a relationship with you.
That's
It's not about
again, that's a
believing.
human view. Like, all right, so there's a type of
Yes.
thing called deism. Okay,
Okay, let's
it's a
say
group. It's
God
people that
exists.
believe God
Why
exists,
does
but He
he?
doesn't interact with humans. That
He
God is
is.
also
He
possible
is
to. No,
interacting
I'm
all the
saying
time.
deism is the belief that a God exists and he made everything, then he just walked away, right? And he didn't interact with anybody. It's possible that that God exists too, and he doesn't want a relationship with anything in this solar system, right? In terms of theology, right? All of these gods, all of these types of God concepts, deism,
In that case, we
pantheism,
would be
right?
the most unhappy
Panentheism
people
are more likely
in every
than
existence.
monotheism, because monotheism is entirely dependent on human points of views about what God is, who God is, how God thinks, what he does. Whereas deism just says, he could have created everything and stepped away. Pantheism says God is everything and essentially we are like a part of the whole set. Right? Other views about what God is and what God does are way more not just practical, way more just robust, if you will, right, than a monotheistic view. The monotheistic view is giving
Can I
you
ask you something?
internal contradictions. Right? It's weird.
Yes. Can I ask you something?
Sure.
What do you feel when I tell you, be honest, what do you feel when I tell you that God loves you from eternity, that he knew
I
and loved
I
you
feel a
before he
sense
created
I feel a
you?
sense of manipulation. That's what I feel. Not only on from you, the person telling me, but if the entity actually exists and is going about things in this way, I feel a sense of manipulation, right? Which would invoke,
Why?
some kind of retaliation. Why?
Is it not a good, yes, is it not a good thing that God loves you?
I don't know. Is it a good thing?
Of course,
All right.
it
So
makes,
if we go down the line of reasoning, right, how do we know God exists, which hasn't even been scratched, the surface hasn't been scratched on that? Why do we think that God thinks and feels like us, like that God is even capable of experiencing what we call love? And then why should I think that God independently wants to love me? If we go down that route, right, I'm pretty sure we won't have answers or sufficient answers for that being true. So it's manipulative on your part. Right? You're trying to convince me of some stuff that you think to be true. You want me to be convinced of it,
I
but
would
it's not a
say,
good
I
reason
would say,
to like
yeah, but
accept any of that.
Seth, yeah, I would say, Seth, you are right. It is manipulative if you don't have a choice, but you have. Like I said, God says he will not force you.
You
He will
can't.
separate you from
Oh boy,
him for eternity. It is a lot of people are telling,
that's
"Oh, I don't want
that's not
a
as scary
God
as it
who's
might
forcing me,"
appear though.
but he is not forcing you. You will not be with him. It's not
Okay,
manipulative. You have the
so
choice
can I give you?
to
Let me
make.
try and give you a visual example. Right, this character that you see on the screen, I'm the one in control of it. Now, I didn't actually make the game. The makers of the game made the game. Without them programming the zeros and the ones, this game couldn't be possible. Now, it's entirely possible, hypothetically speaking, that this character that I'm controlling is actually conscious and has its own experience, okay? But he's completely unaware that I'm controlling him. The minute I put the game down and just stop playing, the whole game ceases to exist. Now, let's say that guy's consciousness continues while I leave the game. He can still not leave anything that's been mapped for him already. So the zeros and ones are already programmed, the map where he exists, the open world. The choices he can make are already decided for him. Now he can have the illusion of ultimate free will, meaning like I can go anywhere I want, but he cannot, right? The zero, all right, I made this example really bad, all right, so I'll slow down. if the God
Yeah,
exists,
you cannot compare that.
if the God
yeah.
exists, he is the same as a programmer for this game. So he's decided the rules and the parameters of the game beforehand. The zeros and the ones, the map itself, okay? The choices one can make and the choices one cannot make. So ultimately, the choice that this individual character can make will always be an illusion in comparison to the real world that's outside of the game. Right? The beginning has been pre-programmed. The ending has been pre-programmed. The types of modifications that could be made are all pre-programmed. It's like representative democracy. You think an individual person is voting for something, but you're voting on one issue that's been presented to you already by one candidate that's been presented to you already. So they're not real choices in that way. Does that make sense?
Yes, I understand what you want to say, and I say you're absolutely right about the system. It's an illusion that you have a choice, but it's not the same. We cannot compare a system with God. He's much bigger than that.
That's your opinion.
Does not need.
That's your opinion, which is fine.
Yeah,
It's your opinion.
I'm going through from the lens of the God from the Bible. This is not his point.
Right, but
I cannot.
You have to
tell
also
you
consider
about other gods because I know the other religion, which for me does not make any sense.
see,
They have
do you
no
see?
prophecies.
There's your bias right there, right? Another
But
schism that
it
the
makes no
Abrahamic faith create.
sense.
Of course, it makes no
But it
sense.
makes no sense. For example,
No, Christianity,
the
Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, Mechanism, Zoroastrianism, you name it, none of them make sense in the grand scheme of things. They all might have good nuggets of truth in them. They all might have good operating philosophies, but none of them make sense. Right? If a God just existed, just a God alone, that's a creator, that on its own makes way more sense than any individual philosophy and variation of that God. Okay, you're just expressing your cultural bias that you lean towards a Christian God. What if you were a Jew? What if
No,
you
it's
were a
not.
Muslim? What if you were a Buddhist?
It's
What if you
not
were a Hindu?
culture.
It is.
God foretold.
Right.
God foretold in the Old Testament that
A
you
Muslim,
will have
a Muslim,
everywhere children, and you have Christians all around the
a
world.
Muslim will tell you his God
It's
is
from
the
the
true
Old
God.
Testament.
A Jew will tell you their God is the true God. A Hindu will tell you their God is the true God. Any individual human with their own religious, cultural leanings will tell you their version is the truth and the others don't make sense. You're not doing anything different to that. You're just expressing your bias, right? Which speaks to what I'm
Is
saying.
there?
Gods are inventions of
Yes, but they
humans for
contradict.
human needs.
If you said, wait, just a second, you're mixing everything up. You have to research deeper all the religions.
You haven't,
They're
though.
contradicting.
You
I
haven't.
did.
No, you haven't. You just
I
said a couple of
did.
minutes ago you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
No, I was telling you I did. I can tell you everything
So
about
you realize there's
Buddhism,
thousands of religions,
Hinduism,
right?
Quran. Yes, but they contradict each other.
Are you telling me that
And
Christianity doesn't entail contradictions?
no. Is there
It
an
does, doesn't it?
objective truth?
There is no
No.
objective truth in theology. There is no objective truth in philosophy.
Do you think there is an objective truth?
No, I don't. The only places you get objective truths in is in
Is that
formalized,
true?
in
What you were
formalized.
saying?
Listen, in
Wait,
formalized
wait.
systems.
No. Stop
No,
here.
this would be my
Do you-
subjective opinion. Right? I think there's truth on a spectrum. When you say something is true, you're
so
saying
you
it is the
did
case
not-
that.
Exactly. In that case, you did not
Right.
say the truth.
Listen again, all right? I think there's only objective, that I think, right, that establishes the subjectivity. I think there is only objective truth in formalized systems where the terms are already agreed upon, e.g. maths or base arithmetic, 1 + 1 = 2. That is truth, that's an objective truth, a mind-independent truth in that system. But if someone comes along and assigns a different value to 1 and a different value to 2, 1 + 1 may not equal 2 in that system. So the objective truth has now changed in context, right? So me personally, I don't think objective truths exist outside of agreed upon systems because we're all individuals having a subjective experience of reality and then splaying
God
our
says,
subjectivity
what did
onto
Jesus
reality.
say? Jesus is the only person ever lived who said, "I am the truth," because truth is
No,
not
Plato said
something,
that as
it is
well.
a person.
Plato said it too.
No,
Yeah, he did.
no,
He did.
no.
Okay.
No. All of them
Okay.
said, I know.
Okay.
No,
But
let
yeah,
me
you did though.
listen. I know the truth. I know the truth. I cannot say I
Right. So
am the
the
truth.
truth that you're saying, the truth that you're speaking to, is also a subjective truth.
No, he is the
No,
truth.
it's a thing that you take to be true, but it's not an objective truth, right? So when we talk about I think and I feel, right, we're not talking about things that exist mind independently. They can your thinking and your feeling can only exist depending on you existing and experiencing those things. Okay.
You're very kind, Seth, and I'm very thankful for this conversation. I have
I
to go
appreciate you.
now. Thank you very much.
It's very nice
And
speaking to you,
like I
Timmy.
said, I want really to put it on your heart. You're really
Just my
loved
mind,
from
put on my
eternity.
mind, all right? I save my poetic
Okay,
language for like
mind.
old English
Okay, you're
texts,
very
ye
rational,
old
and that's also
texts.
good.
I'm not rational.
Yes, it's very good that you're rational
Are
because
you like trying to love
I
bomb
don't.
me and then like slide in some poisonous candy at the
No,
same time? It's
no.
what it
I'm
feels
really
like.
thinking about that.
It's
No,
just like,
no.
let me
I
give this
really
guy a
think
compliment sandwich and then slide in some poison.
no, I really
Just
no,
playing.
Seth. I'm really thinking about that. I think you're much younger than me, but I see a very kind heart in
Well,
you,
actually,
really.
I'm verging on 70 next year, but I'll take it.
70,
That's right. I'll just play it.
really?
I'll just play it.
No,
I'll just
no,
play it.
you're younger than me. No, really, I think that you want to understand it rational is a very good point because I wanted also to understand it rational. And that's why I was really in rabbit holes, a lot of them. And search, don't stop searching.
All right.
Don't
So,
stop that,
what is the
okay?
criteria for searching though? If you want to be honest.
Search history. Because if Jesus did not resurrect
He
everything
didn't.
you can put in a trash, no, there is
There's not his.
evidence in
No,
history
there isn't.
also.
There isn't though. That's the
Please
problem.
research.
I
I
have
also
like.
thought
Do
that.
you think that I haven't spoken to Christians about this copious amounts of times? There isn't evidence that Jesus resurrected. There's literally none.
You
Right?
go,
All tales about his
please go.
resurrection are from the Bible, Sally. Okay, there
No,
isn't
no,
independent
just go
evidence
deeper.
of that. Okay. There is
Just
a
go
deep
deeper
look,
history.
Sally. I can almost promise you, right? If it was evidentially true that Jesus actually resurrected, there is no human alive that wouldn't have heard that already from a
Set,
Christian, right? It would be a matter of fact, not a
set,
matter of belief. Okay, it would be a
set.
matter
You
of
have
fact.
more than 25,000 archaeological evidence about the
No,
Bible.
no, no, no. Right. So, but
Oh, yes,
not this event,
research.
not this event,
Oh, yes,
Sally.
the
Right. Not this
most.
event. Right. The Bible is what's called a
Please
religious text.
research.
I have researched this. The Bible is what's called a religious text. It's written with a theological agenda. Within a religious text, you can have historical facts, you can have real existing people, right? It could point to places, events, and real things that happened. But those things, right, are right, put in the context of the Bible, they're like historical fiction. But the Bible itself is about beliefs, not about historical evidence. So things in the Bible can correlate to reality, like actual places, actual people. But the events that surround Jesus' life aren't accounted for in the real world. E.g., the divine birth, the miraculous birth, the walking on water, the healing the sick, the blind, etc., the raising the dead, the resurrection himself. Those things aren't supported outside of the Bible. All you have is testimonies from the Bible and other people who claim to know what's been told to them, e.g. Josephus, Tacitus, etc. Okay, so you can't just throw it out there like, oh yeah, it's a fact that Jesus resurrected. No, it's a part of a belief system in the context of a religious text. It's not evidentially true. Okay, so just to
But
be
you make
clear,
conclusions out. Yeah, but you
there's
can
a
make
difference here.
conclusions out every happening, what happened. People died for this truth,
Who cares?
All the apostles
That's
died.
not true also.
You
That's
don't
actually a lie.
die.
That's actually a lie, right? I think there's only evidence of one apostle dying, right? Again, I'm not a biblical critique guy. Take that with someone who actually studies the Bible. But it's actually a
You
lie.
have historical evidence
It's actually a
about
lie
a
that
few of them.
the apostles died for their beliefs surrounding Jesus. That's a lie. That's Christian propaganda, okay? There's also not evidence of that, ironically. But yes,
There
people
are.
do die for their beliefs, and it makes one, you know, if I want to sell you an emotional bleeding heart story, it's good to like have this
I
ideological
would not die for
concept
that,
embedded in there,
Seth.
right? It doesn't matter what
I
you
would
would die
not
for,
die for that because I
right?
have a family and
That's
somebody
what you
put me
say, right?
all of us
Right
would
now, there are
not
wars
die.
being
But if
fought.
I
There are wars being fought right
said,
now
if I
where
was a
people are dying for
witness, I
things they
would
believe
die.
in, right? Do you realize that? Right now, in this very moment, in this very second, a
Yes,
life has
but
just been
not,
lost, okay?
yes,
What they believe
but
has
not for
nothing to do
something
with
you
you,
have.
but people die for their beliefs all the time. So that doesn't add value to the or
Yes,
veracity to
but
what
there
they
is a
believe, okay?
difference. Seth, there is a difference, not for something
No,
they
there
did
isn't.
not witness it, because they
Okay,
did not have anything from that, you
can
know?
all right, so
Okay, I
have you
have
ever
to
heard of
go.
the Branch Davidans or Waco, right? These are people who were in cults who took their lives or were unalived based on their
I
beliefs
know
that turned out
exactly,
to
but
be
they
wrong.
have been fooled.
That's your opinion in
Exactly,
hindsight.
they have
Did
been
they but did
fooled.
they die believing in
They
something?
believed in a
Did
lie.
they die
You
believing in
have this
something?
day on
Yes or
daily
no?
basis. People are believing in nonsense, and what you
Yeah,
will die for
but on
that.
my side of the table, I'm saying you're one of the people believing in nonsense, which is possible you might go on to die because of it. I'm not saying you will, and I wouldn't wish that on you. But you are one of those same kinds of people. You're no different to Branch Davidans and Waco. You're no different. You're just part of a 2,000-year-old tradition of the same thing. You're not better
Like
than them,
like I
right?
s- no, no, like I said, I have more than, I don't have a blind faith. No,
I
I
mean,
would
look,
never follow
you would
a blind
you
faith.
would be safer. I mean, put it this way, you'd have more integrity to say you have blind faith than pretend you don't, right? Because the only other type of faith you'd be having would be a bold-faced lie, because it's not
Said,
supportable.
if I tell you that
So
I
it'd be more
experience God
honorable to
every
have blind
day,
faith in this
you will
scenario.
tell me I am crazy. You know, you understand
No,
that?
I've already
You will
look.
tell me,
Your
yeah, I
experiences,
cannot prove that
right? Your
on a
experiences are
daily
your private
basis.
experiences. So I'm not. That's not what's in question,
Exactly.
right? But right, which I usually say to people, I don't take people's personal private testimonies as facts about our shared reality. But if that person
And that's
has built
okay because
rapport with
everyone
me,
can tell you, yeah, people can also lie,
right?
you know?
So
All men's are liar.
you would have to be willing to be critiqued on your personal testimony. But I don't. I ask people's permission before I do that. So I'm not telling you that you need to share your testimony on what you experience. I've already acknowledged that me and you both cannot always articulate the things we feel,
No,
right?
but what I wanted, just a second, Seth. What I wanted to explain is this is one part, but I was not satisfied only with that because there was moments I was thinking for myself, okay, now you're crazy, but I was not. But this was because this was why I went very deep and went into very, very deep researches. That was very important for me because I'm also rational. That's why I'm telling you that's good.
I don't
You
think.
should be a
But
skeptic.
look,
You should
but
be.
but just I know that's the nice like critique that Christians like to throw out. Yeah, you should ask questions unless those questions actually incite something. But that being said, right, I don't think that humans are inherently rational. That's a philosophical view that's held by some people a couple hundred years ago, and I also don't think the average person has the capability or the tools to do real research. We say we do research by doing a couple Googles, reading a couple books, but there are people who have to be taught how to do research in order to go on to do master's degrees, PhDs, etc. Research itself is a tool. It's a tool set. Sorry, it's a skill set that has to be learned and mastered on its own. So just like when someone says, yeah, just do your own research. Yeah, I can do a couple looks. I can look under a rock. But what does that mean? Like, what it'd be like saying, look inside yourself, you find the answers. Well, what if what's inside of you is just nothing but bullshit, right? Will you find the right answers? Probably not. Okay, so it's okay that you come to some conclusion based on your experiences, but I think you should also acknowledge they're just based on your experiences. You know?
Exactly. That's why I told you I myself was not only satisfied with that. I experienced wonders, but I told myself because I was a very, very, I am from natural, a very skeptic person. So I went into a lot of rabbit holes and I wanted to understand. I wanted to understand it also with my mind, and I wanted also a lot of proofs. And for me, it's okay because you know, we all are very different, and if my mind need also the rational part, it's okay.
So have you given up looking then?
I know.
Are you still looking for proof, or are you satisfied with what you got?
Oh, I'm still searching. I was researching, for example, at the last time, in the last days, the prophecies, because I went into history also, you know, and then I saw, okay, when was this written? Then I look into the history, when was this event? And you have a lot of them, also from the Old Testament. And it's a very exciting, for me.
Yeah, because
It's a
that's mystery.
very,
You're engaging in mystery.
no, I'm speaking about history.
No, but as
And
it
you
pertains
compare,
to like prophecies and stuff like that, you're encroaching upon
I
what's
will
called
tell you, for
mystery.
example,
That's
you
why
know the
it's
story.
interesting to people to get into, because it
Yeah,
really
you know
does
the
depend on
story.
interpretation and not the actual event
Let me
itself.
tell you something very, very strange. You know the story about Abraham when God told him he should sacrifice his own son. You
Yeah,
know the
I've heard
story,
about it.
right?
I'm
Exactly.
not
So
sure actually. I started thinking about Job, so I'm not actually
I
sure.
will
I don't
explain.
know.
This is very, very deep because Abraham was, you know, Mesopotamian and everything. You know that culture.
Yeah,
When you
that set up
research,
Genesis right
they
before
had
Moses. Remember that?
no. Listen, they had everywhere, and you can research that everywhere on all the earth. There was sacrifices, human sacrifices.
Yeah,
Research.
just
It's
like
very
Jesus.
terrible.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Jesus was a
No,
human
no,
sacrifice as well.
human sacrifices that people killed people. So let me
Yeah, and then
finish
God
this.
killed people. It was like, everyone's firstborn child. It's like,
Yes,
yeah,
but
yeah,
why?
that's it,
Oh, good point. Why
yeah,
did he do that?
because
Do
he's
you
a
know the
horrible
story
bastard.
before? No. Do you know the story
Of
before
course
when
he
the
is.
Egyptian
So,
killed
so,
all the
so what? It's
babies
like
from
when he
the
told him to go kill all the
Israelites?
Amalekites babies. Right? He's a horrible bastard.
God says
Let's
the
be honest.
revenge is mine.
Yeah, he's a horrible guy,
He
right?
took.
Do you know why God says
No, this
that?
is
Because
justice.
no, it's not
Do you?
justice, right?
Oh, this
Justice,
a good.
that is not justice.
This
The God,
is
do you know why
this
God
is
operates like that,
justice.
Sally? God
They
operates like
have
that
found
because God is based on
18,000
Yahweh, which is a war God,
babies.
right? Sally, listen.
Set. Do you know
Sally,
that they
listen.
found
The reason
18,000 babies
the
killed in
reason
Egypt?
why God operates in such a vengeful
Research.
way is because he's based on a local deity called Yahweh, which was a storm and warrior god. The
No.
ancient, yes,
You
yes,
have
that is
so
why
many
God in the
Bible
Old Testament
verses
is
where God
so
says he's
vengeful,
the
so
God of all
bloodthirsty. It's
world.
because he's the God of
No.
war. Oh my
No,
gosh.
he made his plan of salvation
Oh my
through
gosh.
the Israelites. But you have all in the Old Testament where he says he's the God of all earth.
Yeah, yeah, but that's
Israel is
men.
not
That's
something
men saying that.
special.
So the God, by the time
Israel
you
is
get
not special.
what without Israel, there's no you in Christianity, is there? It is literally
Israel
special.
is not special.
It
And you
literally
see,
is.
what did.
Like to you, it
Wait, sir.
literally is.
This is very good.
Like what do you mean?
No,
It's the
wait.
chosen
No,
people,
wait.
right? It's God's favorite people
No.
and God's favorite nation, so
No.
they are special. Like that's the whole point of
No.
theocratical
No.
hierarchies in the
Read the
first place,
Bible.
right?
You will
The Hebrews
understand.
or the Jews are
No.
the chosen people, and the nation of Israel
They
is the
are
chosen. Like
not
it's special.
special. No.
So
It's written
there's a
also in the Old
contradiction.
Testament.
There is a contradiction for you
No.
right there.
What did Jesus said before he went to the cross? You will not see me until you say, blessed is the one who comes in the name
Yeah,
of the Lord.
but guess what? Jesus
They
was a
did not
Jew.
have, wait, sir.
So
They
without the
did not
Jews, there's
have a
no
state for
Jesus.
2,000
So they're
years,
special.
like God foretold them. For
No, all right. So
2,000 years, they did not have a state.
no,
They were.
technically, right. So
Do
listen,
you know the history of Jews?
there's a hermeneutical kind of part to this, right? So there's a split within Jewish studies, right? Where there's like, I
The
think it's L.
only
Rubinstein.
nation they did not
Listen,
have
listen,
home
right? There's a guy called
for
Sterner.
2,000
Right?
years.
There's a guy
Since
called
the
Sterner.
cross.
There's a guy called Sterner or Steiner, sorry, right? He's a Jewish theologian, and his view is that the nation of Israel was always supposed to exist psychologically, a nation without borders, so it connects all of the people across the earth who are Jews as that tribe. It was never supposed to be a land mass. So after the Holocaust, the various different theologians within Judaism argue about this. Right, some say we need to be able to establish this land, which gives them moral licensing to encroach on the Palestinians, etc., etc. Other Jews are like, no, Israel as a nation was always supposed to exist without borders, psychologically as a people. Okay, so you saying like the land, like that has nothing to do with anything, with all due respect. But in terms of Israel, as it stands in the Bible, it is God's favorite people and his favorite nation. So it's special. Without Israel, without the Jews, there's no Jesus, there's no New Testament.
You don't know the Bible. No. You don't know the Bible then.
Okay.
Who is Israel? You have the spiritual Israel, and you have on the geographic side.
Yes.
Who is Israel now?
So we are talking about the spiritual Israel in this context then. All right? The geographical Israel is just a map. It's
exactly.
fake.
And the spiritual Israel is all the people who accepted Christ.
But it's still...
Did Israel accept Christ?
But you're the one who said Israel wasn't special.
I told you that, yes.
Exactly. And my point was, no, it's literally God's chosen people.
But we're speaking about the spiritual Israel. Who is Israel?
Right.
Israel is saved people through Jesus.
Right. That's your opinion, but like I said earlier on, there's like a hermeneutics thing happening here where it's based on interpretation.
I'm sorry, but the problem is you don't understand the Bible.
It's based on interpretation. It's based on interpretation. Okay.
No.
Yes.
You cannot miss that out.
All right. So if we actually look at the history of the Levant and the Middle East, right? Israel, or the people you call the Hebrews, were real people who lived in a real place. Okay. So when you start talking about the spiritual nation of Israel, right? That is a interpretation. Okay. They were the Israelites, they were the Hebrews, they were the Canaanites, etc., etc. Okay.
This is very interesting. Please listen to me. The place where 2,000 years before Jesus came, the place where Abraham should sacrifice his son. And by the way, his son was not a little boy, he was more than 30 years.
Yeah, but Abraham didn't exist anyway.
Wait.
It's like, chill.
Just hear me up until the end. This is very crazy. I mean,
I bet it is
crazy. Wait. And it was the same place, 2,000 years ago, the same place where Jesus was sacrificed. And when you read the text, what does God say?
Gosh.
He will offer a lamb. He will give it.
That is cute.
You cannot do it by yourself.
Right, so Sally, you need to understand that this is only important if you already believe in the historical fiction of the Bible. If you are outside of this thing, right? So let's say you're a Gentile, right? You've never experienced the Bible or anything to do with Judaism or all of this, right? I'm saying to you, so outside of the context of you as a believer, everything you just said has no relevance. It doesn't have a bearing on reality. Okay, it only matters in a religious context to religious people. In the real world, no one cares about what Jesus did or didn't do, Abraham did or didn't do, where they were. In the real world, nobody cares about those things. They only matter within the religious context. Listen. Eternity is nonsense. There's no such thing as eternity. That's nonsense. You've been sold that because you can't cope with the harsh reality of death, right? Which is a part of life. All things will cease to exist, right? Just get over it.
Okay,
right? It's hard, I know. But that being said, yeah, you should, because you're worried about eternity and not even the next 5 minutes, okay? So you probably should, right? But that being said, the context of the Bible doesn't matter outside of the people who believe and have already agreed to things in it, okay? So if we start at Genesis and we figure out if a snake can speak or not, and you say no, right, then the rest of it falls to bits straight away. Okay, we're not going to get to Jesus if Genesis is not true, are we? Right?
Seth, we can go back and forth, but I want to ask you something that has nothing to do with the Bible. Nothing. It has only to do with yourself.
And I'll decide if it's worth answering.
Can you imagine that you will not see your loved ones one day?
Yeah, of course.
It's a question of your
That's
heart.
reality. No, that's reality.
You can accept that.
That is reality, Sally, right? Everyone you've
So
ever
you are
known,
accepting
everyone you've ever known,
that.
and everyone you will ever know will cease to exist one day. And if you wish to hold on to
You are
them as if they are a
healthy
possession, you are a
and you
fool.
are
You
young.
must release them back to
When
which
you
or gave
no,
them to you, right? Go read Enchiridion by Epictetus, right? If you wish for your wife or your loved one to live forever, then you're a fool, right? These are not possessions; they do not belong to you.
why
Right? So they will
not?
return
It
to
will
wherever
be
they
a
came from.
complete new world.
No,
God says
that
what you
that is your
never
ego.
imagined.
That is your ego impressing itself upon
No.
reality. Your life is the only thing you're in control of, right? The lives of other people are not your possessions. So relinquish that possession, right? They
Think
don't
about
belong
your
to you.
loved ones.
So
It's
they
not
will
only about
leave.
God.
And if you're not able
It's
to
about
cope
your
with that,
heart.
you may spiral into delusions about other lives and other worlds if you're not able to
Sex,
cope with the reality.
it's about your heart.
No,
How
no,
much do
Sally.
you love
Sally,
really your
everyone,
people?
everyone you've ever
How
known
very,
and
very
everyone you will
good
ever know,
question.
Sally, including yourself, will die one day. All right,
I
Sally?
will not die. I mean, I will die, but I
Everyone,
will live again.
everyone,
Not
you
the
hope, right?
insects.
Good luck to you. I appreciate that. Good
Not
luck to you.
I'm not hoping. I know.
Good luck to you, right?
I
But
know.
as far as the
100%.
material world
I
goes,
know.
all things that currently live, maybe with the exception of jellyfishes, but technically that's not true. They just get younger, right? All things that have ever lived will cease to exist at some point because it's a condition of life. To be considered living, one must die, one must have a metabolism, one must
Don't be
adapt, one
okay.
must reproduce to be considered living.
No.
So all things will cease to exist
Maybe.
one day,
I
Sally.
think you
And
don't
it's
have children.
okay.
I think when
It's
you have
okay, right?
children, you will think
Look,
different.
Sally,
You want to see your children
you
every
don't know me,
time.
Sally, right? You don't know me, right? With all due respect.
I don't know you. That's true.
Right, so
Do you have
you
children?
in the same way God was asking Job to be willing to let go of his sons, right? You need to be willing to let go of your sons too, okay? Life is not yours to possess. You're just the renter of it. You're the caretaker of it for a period of time. Appreciate that. That is all there is to it. You cannot act as if it is yours to hold on to forever. That's
I will
childish.
never stop believing
Right.
that
And
I
so
at
you
some
may as well
point I
engage
will
with
not
Peter
see
Pan as
my
well then, and you'll
son.
never be an adult, okay?
I will see my
Alright,
son
so
in eternity as an angel.
all right, maybe
Yes,
if that's what you need to give you comfort, Sally,
because I
but
love. No,
one
I
must
don't
accept
want to
that
have
life ceases.
stones in my heart.
No, this is just
That's
look.
exactly
If
that's the
you
heart problem.
if you build
Believe
up a
me.
castle on
Think
like
about
playing
that.
cards, Sally, listen, if you build up like this ridiculous world on like a really poor foundation, you're setting yourself up for more suffering, more heartbreak when you start to realize the world is falling apart because of the foundation. If you accept things as they are, then you can reconcile the realities and get the best outcomes for yourself and other people. It's not
I am
about being
enjoying
bitter.
life more than ever,
That's
Seth.
good, but one cannot ignore the
I am
reality,
enjoying
the
life more than
finality.
ever because
That's
I
good,
don't have
Sally.
any fear. I am full of His love and His
That's good,
peace.
Sally, right? But
It's amazing.
you shouldn't be without fear. Fear is necessary in order to preserve your life for as long as possible. So completely without fear is
I
a bit
don't
silly, right?
have any
To
fear.
be
I
completely
don't have
fearless would be
any
foolish.
fear.
Okay? But
No,
all I'm
I
trying to
don't
say,
have
Sally,
fear. But
it's
I'm
okay.
rational. I'm not crazy, you know.
Sally, it's also okay to not be rational as well. It's not mandatory. It's not even a reality, right? It's just a tool that we have access to. Right? There's no rule that tells you all humans must be rational in all scenarios. We are clearly not. So it's okay, right? I'm just saying to you, if it gives you comfort to think that there is another life and there's an extension of this life, fine. There are many ways you can approach that, from a Christian view, from a philosophical view, from a Buddhism view, etc., etc. There are many ways you can approach that. But what you have to also realize, Sally, your way of dealing with these things and this reality is not necessarily the only way. So when someone else says to you,
Is
hey, I've made peace with the fact
Jesus
that,
said He is the
Sally,
only
listen,
way.
when someone says to you, I've made peace with the fact that I'm living for a short period of time on earth, right? And I will one day cease to exist. You have no right to come and tell them, no, you need to subscribe to this eternal life thing. You're messing up their scheme of life, right?
No, you don't
You
have
are.
to.
You are, right? Well, no, if they ain't got the willpower to argue against you, then you might actually damage them. But reality being said, right, all things as we know them will cease to exist. Even me, even you, okay? So whatever does or does not occur after that, I guess, like Kanye said, we'll never know, right? But you can believe what you want in the meantime.
I know it's not a belief anymore. I know it. It's a
I
difference.
mean,
It's
so
a shift. It's a shift that happened in you. It's really a shift that happened in
Sally,
you.
you
It's
just got to
not
think how
something I
many
believe.
billions of people have ever existed that no longer exist, Sally.
A lot
Billions.
of them will exist.
Billions of
Yes,
people that used to exist that no longer exist. Billions of plant
they
life,
will.
billions of animal lives that
There is
existed
a
at some
part that
point
will exist for
and they no
eternity.
longer
Oh
exist.
yes.
But do you know what? If you are that concerned with a type of eternity and eternal life, Sally, then you should make it your duty to do something good or like something impressive in this life so that the legacy and the memory of Sally lives on.
That's the point. You cannot earn your heaven. You should be like
But
God. You are made in His image. You
I
should.
don't
We are
I,
created to do good.
I don't
But
think
it's
that's
in my
true.
heart because, oh, this is true.
But
We
Sally,
are created in His image, and we should be good.
earlier in the conversation, Sally, it sounded like you was coming to the realization that God is all powerful, almighty, but he's not all good. He's evidently not all
Absolutely
good.
good. He's good. He's holy.
Sally, that's an opinion, okay? In fact, the idea of good is an opinion. Good and bad are stance dependent things, right? So that depends on your moral values, things you value, things you disvalue, what then becomes good and what then becomes bad. So things that Sally thinks are good are not necessarily things that John thinks are good. So God, John's idea of good may have God being a terrible person, whereas Sally's idea of good may have God being a wonderful person. So the good
Exactly.
itself is not
That's
objective.
subjective.
The
This is
good itself.
subjective, and we can never come back together in this. That's why God is the one who says, define what is good and what is not good. There is
I
a
don't know.
true
I don't know
good
about
and
that.
true evil. We
No, I
see
would
it in the
disagree.
world set.
I would disagree
We
with that.
see a lot of evil in this world. A
All right, so
lot of them.
I don't dismiss the fact that one could say this is good or this is righteous and this is evil, but I don't think good and evil exist as independent substances on their own. There's no reason for me to think that.
Somebody hit you, is that good or evil?
It depends on the context of why they hit me. All right, I'm not saying I'm a moral relativist across the board. I think each
If
individual
somebody kills
situation.
you, is
What?
that good or evil?
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't be around to make a judgment on it. Do you know? But whether it's
It
good,
would be evil,
not
Seth, if
necessarily,
somebody
right?
do that to
Right. So
you.
I'll say it to you like this, Sally. Right. Although I agree with you, taking a life is wrong for the most part in almost all scenarios. The context of which it happens may not necessarily be objective, or not even objectively, just evil or good, evil, right? It may be amoral, just completely neutral in the circumstances that surround it. That's what I'm trying to say to you. So the stance that, all right, so for instance, you couldn't be a Christian and think that all deaths are evil. Then that would make God himself evil, right? It would be
Wait, Seth, you're
contradictory.
thinking like God because he doesn't say you should not kill. He said you should not murder.
All right, now that's
Nowhere
man.
he
That's
says
man playing semantics, right? That has little to do with
no.
what God may or may not have
Murder
said.
is different than kill. If
Yes,
somebody
by
kills you
definition.
because
By
you are,
definition.
for example,
Yeah.
you are attacking somebody and somebody wants to help this
Yes.
person, and in that case he kills you.
Semantically.
He did not murder you. He killed you. You
Semantically,
know,
yeah,
there's a
semantically. But
difference.
remember when we briefly touched on the fact that God killed everybody's firstborn child
You
in
think
Egypt?
like the same
That
like
was an
God.
intentional murder of people's children. Like, remember when God told the Amalekites to go and slaughter men, women, babe, and like infant and camel and
Exactly. And
donkey,
what did
right?
God? Ah, good
He
point. What
told.
did God
So
say
so
400 years before that? No,
semantically,
wait.
this is a man
You
thing.
missed the point.
No, I
Wait,
don't
what
miss the
did God
point.
say 400? Okay,
It's
oh, you
listen. The
do. Because
context.
what he says
Sorry.
very something important before he did that.
All right. So
What did he
Sally,
say 400 years before that?
I'm not sure the exact quote, but
You miss.
I will give you a real world representation or an equivalence, okay? 400 years ago, Western European white people did terrible, terrible things to black people from the global south and Africa.
Exactly.
Terrible things for 400 years. Okay, now if God was to appear to me today and say to me, Set, go and unalive every man, woman, child, donkey, cattle you see in the West today, would it be permissible? You see how you flail now? It should be given the context, because the Israelites and the Canaanites are in a similar, the Amalekites are in a similar situation.
No,
okay?
wait. You're making here a very big mistake, because
No,
the
it's
Old
not.
Testament,
It's not.
No, you have to differentiate. The Old Testament is the time of the law.
You hear that?
Question. Yes.
You hear that,
this
right?
is the concept. If you know the Bible, you
No,
know that.
what you're
And
doing.
The New Testament is the answer, because
What you're doing
the Israelites
is
never
dancing,
did
right?
good.
You're
Never.
making
They fall the way all the
you're
time.
doing an apologetic
God
style
told
of
them,
dancing.
You
Listen.
see, you cannot fulfill the law. We cannot
Right.
set.
So, given a context, right? 400 years ago, a group of people that are no longer living did some terrible things to a group of people. Okay. Now it's 400 years later. God appears to the people the victims, right? And he says to the victims, hey, 400 years ago, those people did some terrible things to you. Go over there and smite them, right? Is it permissible? Or I'll word it another way. Is it good? No, I'm asking you, Sally. I'm asking you, Sally. If God appears and says to a descendant of an African slave, go and unalive any Western slave ancestor you find, is it good or is it evil?
Again, Seth, you are missing the concept.
I'm not missing the concept.
New Testament.
So the
Yes,
overarching point,
I tell you, you should read
Sally,
for yourself.
I know this, Sally. I know this, Sally. I know
answer.
this. The point of why I said this to you, Sally. The point of why I said this to you is because you try to do the semantic dancing around murder and killing. Right, and I gave you the Amalekites as an example of that. Prior to that, I said he actually went and killed the firstborn child of all people in Egypt, except from the people who had blood on their bloody doors. Okay, so and I said to you, the view on what is considered good, the view on what is considered good and evil would be subjective based on what you value and disvalue. Right now, you value certain things about the Bible that doesn't allow for you to put it this way, right? God is commanding the murdering of babies, right?
Yes,
there isn't a good reason to do that. Now, you're saying in the context of the Amalekites, that's okay.
Reason. He told them 10 times,
there is never a justified. Sally, don't do this to yourself. There's never a justified time to murder children. Sally, don't do this to yourself. Sally,
no, the Pharaoh doesn't
Sally,
own people.
just hear the context. Sally, just hear the context. Don't get caught up in the
minutiae. You're missing
minutia.
the context, because the Pharaoh and every king on this earth does not own your life.
So, Sally, right, I'll ask you again.
Your
right?
life belongs to God.
Are all killings,
system, to no
Sally,
king.
are all killings evil? Or all murders evil, Sally? Right? If you want to semantically dance, are all murders evil?
God is not killing. He put away 2,000 people
Sally,
today from this
are
earth.
all murders evil,
God
Sally?
gives life and he takes life.
God damn it, Sally! Are all murders evil, Sally? Yes or no?
No.
Right, so there you go, right? Like I said already, as a Christian, you can't say that murder's evil then, right? So just dead it, right? It's done.
Murder, killing.
I just asked you a question, Sally.
Wrong.
Right? Like, so,
and murder is wrong.
right, so murder is an unjust killing of somebody, right? So Sally, is there ever a just time to murder a child? Is there ever a just time to kill a child? So there you go. So any time where a child would be intentionally killed, it would be considered as murder, according to your morality.
But you
they go right. So therefore, anytime a child is killed with intention, Sally, by your standard, it's evil. So that means God done an evil thing. Okay, that's okay,
no, he did
Sally.
Not an evil
Sally,
thing.
it's okay to reconcile. Sally, it is okay to reconcile that God is all powerful but not all good. That's the whole point of this whole conversation at this juncture, right?
This people,
it's
the
okay to say,
Amalekites, were
Sally,
very evil.
you
They burned,
cannot.
they
I
burned their
know.
own
Yeah,
children.
the white European
They
slave
burned
masters
their
did that
own
too,
children,
right?
said,
It
and
doesn't
God
matter.
stopped the
Yeah, you should
evil.
have seen what
And
was
he
happening in
told
Europe in the
every
1600s, Sally, right? It's
every
okay, right?
nation,
Yeah, that's
yes,
cool.
every
You should read about
nation
Munster,
will be
Sally, right?
destroyed.
But the point remains, Sally, okay? God is either all powerful, right, or all good, right? That's what you were
God is
coming
not
up
evil.
against to. God can
This
do
is
right. So Sally,
justice.
if you step outside of your own ego, right, and you're saying a universal level entity that has all the power in the world, in the universe, cannot do anything evil,
Said,
you are
should
being
God
foolish.
stop evil?
You
Should God stop
look.
evil?
I don't think,
Answer me.
Sally, if you're saying a
Should he
universe
stop
level
evil?
entity, if you're
Wait,
saying, Sally,
Seth,
if
you're
you're
going
saying,
too far.
no, I'm going to where it needs to go to. If you're saying a universal level entity cannot do evil, you are limiting that entity,
God
okay?
should stop evil, and God will stop evil.
I didn't ask you that,
In
Sally.
eternity,
right?
there
I
will
didn't
not
ask
be
you that,
any
Sally.
evil persons
I am simply
anymore.
saying, if you
No,
backtrack,
a
right,
God who
I'm simply
does
saying
not
to you,
stop evil is
the
not
good.
a holy God.
Well, look what
A
your God
God
does then,
who
Sally, right?
does not stop evil is an evil God.
Well, Sally,
Stop the
oh,
Amalekites.
what do you want me to
because they
tell you,
were
Sally? Like,
evil.
like
Read the
you, it sounds like
Bible.
you've realized something there,
They're
right?
putting people to a very, very
Okay.
terrible death.
So,
Read the
Sally,
Bible.
it sounds like
And
you've
God
realized something
told,
there that
and God
you're brushing
foretold
over.
I
So,
will give them
oh my gosh.
more 400
Oh my
years
gosh.
before the judgment comes.
Sally,
He
alright?
gave them again
With all due
400,
respect, Sally.
400 years.
Sally, listen, alright?
I
Calm
have
down.
to go, Seth.
I do really appreciate speaking to you, Sally. It's been very fun, alright? It's been very eventful. But just
Yeah.
understand, it's okay to say that you believe in a God, right? And call the God all powerful. But it's also just as okay to say the God's all powerful, but he's not all good.
Look around you. Of course he's all powerful.
He's not all good though. That's what I'm saying to you. By the biblical
He
standards,
is.
he cannot be. You've just said that
is,
murder.
but God is
You
not
you
a
have just
human.
established that murdering a child is always evil. God is all powerful.
Yes.
Therefore, he is capable of doing evil.
But you don't think about
There is a version of the Bible, the
saved
King
his
James version,
children.
where God says, "I am the creator of
he
evil."
saved
Right?
his
So,
children
and then it got
take
changed
him
to
back
calamity.
himself.
That's all good, right,
Because
Sally?
you
Right?
know, no, Seth,
Sally,
the
if you,
children belongs
Sally, if
to
you
God.
had the
And if you
power,
know the Bible, you know
Sally,
that.
if you had the power
So
to kill
he
people
saved
and then
them
resurrect them,
from
Sally,
murdering the
Sally, if
children.
you had the power to kill people and resurrect them, would you go around just killing people because you could resurrect them?
Everybody has to die.
All right, that's what I've been telling you, Sally. Oh my gosh, like, see, it's
Everyone will die.
Sally. Oh
Because
Lord.
we're all sinners, Seth.
I disagree, right? I don't think
Oh, Lord.
I don't think a sin is possible, right? A sin is a transgression against a God's moral law. If a God is in question and a
have you
God
ever
ever
lied?
speaking, that is not a sin, right? Listen
you
to what I'm
ever
saying.
lied,
Listen to what
Seth?
I'm saying to you. A sin, a biblical sin, is a transgression against a God's moral law. If we are arguing
Exactly.
about whether the God exists and whether the God ever spoke, then until the moment we can establish the God exists and he did speak, there is no biblical sin. You can have a cultural sin perhaps, but there is no biblical sin until that is established. You can believe in sin if you want to, but until it's established, substantiated, there is no biblical
If
sin.
you ever
Right?
lied, Seth.
Sally, there is no biblical sin until you can demonstrate God exists and he
No,
spoke.
this was
right?
not my question.
I
Stay
don't
with me.
I don't
Did
I
you
don't
ever
need
lie?
you I don't need you to question my character, right? That's not nice. So
You did. I don't have.
no,
Everybody
Sally, right?
has lied.
Look, you're not in a position to question my character after you've just said murdering children is evil, and then you
Because
said,
I
"Oh, but God,
know
for
all
God, for God
people
is
are
all good." Okay,
liars.
right? Yes, all people are liars. I agree,
So
right?
you are not
I agree,
good,
right? But
and I'm
no,
also not good,
no, Sally.
Seth.
I never said I was good, and I'm happy to accept that at any given time. I don't
Because
claim
we
to be good.
aren't
But what I
good,
don't
but
accept,
you
Sally,
know
but what
that.
I don't accept, Sally, is that lying is a sin, or any kind of transgression is a sin.
Oh, it is.
It's your belief.
Oh,
That's your
Seth.
belief, Sally.
No.
Virtue ethics,
Should you have
ethics
a
of
lot
care,
people around you, and
utilitarianism,
everyone's lying to you. You
etc.,
cannot live
etc.
this
All of these
life.
different ethical frameworks would establish what
Oh,
you
Seth,
take to be
Seth,
good or
please.
evil.
Please,
Sally,
Zed,
come on.
do you want really people around you that everyone is lying to you?
Sally, if I wasn't comfortable with liars, I wouldn't be speaking to you.
Would that be good?
Sally,
It would not
Sally,
be
if I
good,
wasn't
Zed.
comfortable interacting with liars, I
pray
wouldn't
that
be speaking
you
with you.
don't have people
Okay?
around you who are lying to you.
Sally, I appreciate that, and I would love for that to be true for all people. But the reality is, that's a capability we have. But just because a man can lie, that doesn't make it a sin, right? That's something that you are projecting onto the world from your
wrong.
view.
You know what
Sally,
sin means.
so
to miss
I told
the goal.
no, I told you, right? A sin
Oh,
is a
yes.
transgression on a God's moral law. That is what a sin is.
Exactly.
Okay, right.
Because
so
he
the
does
fact
not want
God has never
us to do
God has
bad
never
to
come
each
down and
other.
established what is a sin, what is not a sin. There were over 600
He did?
Mosaic laws which no Christian today can say they keep, okay? So everything
No, because we cannot keep it. And God made a
Right,
system
but
in
it
a
wasn't
world
God.
that was very terrible.
wasn't God who
You're thinking
established
about
that.
the world like today, but for 5,000 years ago, there was a disaster on this earth. There was no laws.
Sally, there are disasters
This
every
was
day.
not like
right?
you have it today.
Sally, all right, so Sally, laws are things that
people
men
and
make,
the
right?
nations were terrible.
Sally, laws are things that men make, and the type of laws that govern our society, right, are called oughts or prescriptive laws. What one ought do, what one ought not do, right?
I don't
Someone
know
can tell
any
you,
sin which is good.
Sally, someone can tell
Every
you,
sin has his
Sally, someone can tell
consequences.
you shouldn't go to the river and take water from there. That's what you ought not do, societally as a law. Do not go to the river and take water from there. But guess what you can do, Sally? You can go to the river and take water from there, okay? Now, if we're talking about a God's law, it wouldn't be a prescriptive type of societal law like that, okay? You would not be able to break that law in any possible way if it was a God's law. Like it'd be like jumping 3,000 feet in the sky. You would not be able to transgress that if it was a law from God, because it'd be established as a fact about the universe, not a one ought do, not a guidance system. Okay, it'd be a fact about reality that you could not do this. That's what I'm saying to you.
We all need structure.
I agree.
God knew that.
No, men knew
We
that.
need structure.
Men knew that. So men created anthropomorphic
God knew
gods
that.
to police other men when they weren't around. Okay?
Look the laws of the other nations. You will be terrified.
What are you talking
the
about?
Romans had good laws. The Romans had terrible laws.
Look,
You know?
look. I'm well aware that there are bad laws.
Assyrians.
Sally,
or
I'm
the
aware.
Assyrians,
I'm aware that there are bad
terrible
laws. We
laws.
still have bad laws today. Like, yes, but like I just said, laws are
We
prescriptive.
still need them, you know?
I agree. I
to
agree.
protect.
I agree.
to
Right?
protect.
But do you know what
If,
also happens,
there
Sally,
would
right?
not be law,
People can
then
also
the
make laws that
world
discriminate
would
against
be-
people,
would
Sally.
be much worse,
Sally,
you know?
people can also make laws that discriminate, oppress, and, do bad things to people. They can also be considered laws. Okay, so if you consider the role of women throughout these Abrahamic faiths and the laws that were placed
Okay, let
upon
me
them,
correct. We need
they
good-
are oppressive.
good laws.
Okay, yeah, I know,
Yes.
but there's the
I'm
word
with you.
again. But
We
Sally,
need good
the
laws.
good, the
Yes.
good that you're prefacing the laws with is subjective. Like that was what that whole conversation was about anyway.
Okay, then we
what
call
you
back
what you take
that
as the
you
goods.
don't believe there is a good or evil.
What? No, I'm not
We
saying
see
that.
good
Listen, I'm
and we
saying
see evil.
how you establish
So, to say
good
that
and
there is
bad
no
depends
good or
on what
no
you
evil,
value.
It's very
Sally,
unrealistic.
you're being
Zed.
ignorant, right? I'm saying to you, how one determines what is good and what is bad is based on what they already value. There are various systems that help you establish what you value. I'm going to tell you some, right? There's something called deontological ethics. It's called duty-based ethics, created by a guy called Kant, right? There's consequentialist ethics, right? It's outcome-based. There are virtue ethics, character-based. There's relativism, cultural, like, etc. There's divine command theory, which is what's going on in the Bible, okay? God saying, don't do this, do that, right? There's ethics of care, emphasizes importance of relationships, emotions. There's egoism, prioritizing your own life and your own needs, right? There are various systems that people measure their values against when they decide what is good and what is bad. So there is no objective unilateral good and no objective unilateral evil. It all depends on what you subscribe
That's
to.
not rational what you're telling now.
Who told you
We
it was
see
rational?
True evil.
Sally,
We see true evil,
look,
sad.
no, there's no such thing as true evil. That's a subjective view, okay? Whether or not, look, I put it to you like this, Sally. There are things me and you will both agree that that is bad, that is wrong. But we have to make a very substantial argument and case to say it's objectively wrong in all laws of the universe. That takes a lot of thinking and a lot of work. But the reality is, how we go about establishing these oughts and ought nots are based on subjective emotional reasons, Sally. They're not rational.
You will never come together with all people.
You can't.
It's subjective. You will not.
What, look, I put it to you like this,
Where
Sally,
could
right?
you have your loves?
Would you prefer to live under Hitler or would you prefer to live under Trump?
None of them.
Which of the two would you take?
None of them.
You're gonna get a combination of authoritarianism and totalitarianism, but it's which level are you willing to go with is the question.
None of them.
Right, so from your view, you're not allowing for the variation, Sally.
I don't belong to Hitler.
But that's what.
So
Sally, so that's what I'm saying to you, Sally. So if you're saying someone has to govern the whole system and say you can do this and you cannot do that, you're subscribing to a type of authoritarianism, right? Which is the same divine command theory, which is based on the whims of the god, the subjectivity of the god or the leader. Right, you're not saying Max over there can be an egoist, Jane over there can practice ethics of care, John over there can practice relativism, and Harry can practice consequentialism, and where it's suitable they use those ethics. You're saying Sally, but you're saying Sally,
the whole system
you are saying someone has to come in and be the controller of all people's moral frameworks. That is the same as being under Hitler or under Trump, right? Or Mussolini, or Stalin, right? Or Lenin. Pick one, pick a dictator, okay?
Yes.
But
all terrible people. Evil.
Yes, but God is also terrible by that standard. If you judge, if you use God, if you use the God of the Bible,
released people from
Sally,
from Egypt.
If you use
releasing us from this.
Sally,
world.
didn't he harden the Pharaoh's heart so he wouldn't release people? He did that. Okay, right. If you use God as the moral compass, you will be evil,
God
Sally.
Is not begging anyone.
All right, so Sally,
He's the master.
I'll ask you again, Sally. If I ask you again, right, Sally, if I'm going to use God as my moral guidance system, I'm going to say I'm going to make decisions like God. Should I, Sally, go out and unalive any ancestor of a slave master in the past 400 years? If I'm going to behave like God, then that is permissible. If I'm going to say, I don't like how this country is going, I'm going to delete everybody, that would be, Sally, if I said,
their own children.
And so does God, Sally. So does God, Sally. What are you talking about? Sally, God is, all right, so is everyone not a child of God, right? Like, jokes aside about Satan, everyone is the expression and creation of God. And God has been unaliving his own children since the beginning based on the Bible. So Sally, if God is the moral standard, it would be okay for me to go out and destroy an entire country, just like God said, I'm going to flood the whole earth. Right.
God will take your life also.
Yes, because he's jealous. That's what I'm saying. He's not a good moral compass. He is not a good moral compass. He's vengeful, he's jealous, he's spiteful. That's not a good moral compass, right?
That's a good thing.
God is the ultimate egoist. God is the ultimate hedonist, right? Seriously. Like, he is the ultimate hedonist. Sally. Oh my gosh.
He plans greater things for you.
Sally,
he will take
right?
your life also set.
Yes, that could be true, Sally. But if you understand,
he gave you the life. He will.
There's too many knots here to even begin to cut it. It's just
really
ridiculous.
Sorry, I have to go.
It's
I have to go.
ridiculous.
My son was calling
I appreciate
me and
you,
I was
Sally.
blocking him.
Oh, that's dread.
It was very funny.
Poor guy.
It was very fun.
I know. I appreciate you, Sally.
Yeah, I thank you very much.
It's very nice talking to you.
Sorry if I have told you something which you don't like.
No, it's fine. I'm just glad we got past the gaslighting. That's good.
Yes, but be open. I can only put you on the heart. Be open and yeah.
Look, Sally, our minds protect us from bad ideas for a reason, right? Being open-minded can be dangerous, so just keep that in mind.
It's always a risk. yes,
Yes.
but in my opinion, it set me free. The
All right.
truth
But just
really set
don't
me
give up on the
free.
search then, Sally. Don't just settle in one corner.
No, I never will, because I'm very curious and I'm learning really every day something new. It's really amazing.
There you go. Me too, Sally.
So I will pray for you.
Don't pray for me, Sally. Go
I
read Matthew
really,
6 and 5, Sally. Go read
I will
Matthew 6
really
and 5.
pray for you. And I know I will see you in God's kingdom
All right.
as an
Maybe.
angel.
No, I'm ready there.
Yes,
Ready there.
because you're a child of light. You don't see it, but I see it
100% Sally.
already.
Sally, right. A love woman aside, I
Okay, I have
appreciate
to
you. It's
go.
very nice speaking to you, right?
Thank you very much,
Take
Seth,
care.
and God bless you.
Maybe. All right, take care.
Oh, he blessed you a lot. Okay, I'm
Hey,
gone now.
see you later.